Thank you for being here today. We are a little bit late, 5 minutes past the hour, but we are here and I'm happy to welcome you to our poetry panel. And for today, we have two special guests. They are sisters and they write poetry. So I'm going to let them, each of them, introduce themselves. First, how are you doing, girls? And introduce yourself too. So I'll start with Cheryl.
We're great. And thank you for having us.
Welcome. So how are you doing today? And introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Cheryl Jackson.
And I'm Laura Wallace.
So how are you doing?
Okay, I'm fine. We're the co-authors of the book, Different Sides of the Same Coin.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing good today. How are you?
I'm doing great. And how about you, Cheryl?
I'm doing great too.
So could you introduce yourself and tell us how did you end up writing a poetry? So Cheryl, will you go first and then Lewis?
Okay. I've always written. I'm the older sister by 15 months. And I've just always written. My sister, Loris, wrote a little bit later on as she started just experiencing certain things, but I'm going to let her tell you about that. But I knew that my sister was very talented, and I say it all the time. She really is my favorite writer. And she reminds me a lot of the African-American writers here, like Zora Neale Hurston or Maya Angelou. She writes like that.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful testimony, Lois. Oh, we lost her. So keep going, Cheryl. While she's coming back, I'm going to add her back.
Okay, so because she writes so beautifully, I just really encouraged her to partner with me for this book. At times, I felt like I almost had to beg and plead on bended knee for her to be involved, because she's a little shy. And she's really, really shy about writing and her talent, which I don't understand, because she really is phenomenal. And she had beautiful pieces, which, because we are sisters, she shared them with me from her journal. Mm-hmm. And they didn't seem like journal entries. They seemed a lot like poems. And she thought so as well. So I'm just very grateful and thankful to God that she kind of put down the shyness a little bit, and she was willing to do this with me. And so I believed in her, and I believe in our project. And I'm just very blessed that we were able to do this.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And I'm not used to have sisters poet on this platform. Usually it's always like one person doing its own thing, its own poetry, and not sharing it at all. Right. So how do you happen to collaborate with sister in that family-like job? Is there any let's say, funny story or something you would like to share, a special experience that happened while you were collaborating on this project, on this book?
Things were going kind of haywire. Things were going kind of haywire, and
I think I'm losing you a little bit. I'm not hearing you, Cheryl. Losing you.
Okay, I'm not speaking. Loris is speaking, and I don't see her picture, so I don't know that you can pick her up.
She's out. She had to reconnect because I can't see her either. She disconnected when she was talking to us. Since then, I can't see her. She had to click again on the link to join again.
Okay, Loris, you need to rejoin because we can't see you or hear you. Okay.
And if you could answer the funny story, so people watching right now don't feel like they are left down right now while you are waiting for your sister to get back, Laris.
That's not a problem.
So what's the funniest thing that happened to you while you're writing on this project? Because we need something funny with the COVID-19 and everything going on. We need something fun.
Okay, I don't mind sharing this story with you because it is kind of funny. My sister is very much an emotional writer. So sometimes, as siblings do, we clash on just the process of how we go about writing. And my sister always tells me that I have to feel a click. I have to feel a click. And I didn't understand what she really meant at that time when she would say that to me. And I'd be like, we have to have this many pages and you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. So I was almost like the taskmaster, and I would be telling her, Loris, I really need you to focus. I need you to focus. And she would always respond to me, I can't do anything because I don't have the click. I don't have the click. And I would just be like really aggravated because I thought initially, I thought when she was saying that to me, I said, this is crazy. This makes no sense to me. What in the world is a click? I'm like, I'll let her finish the rest of it, but it was kind of funny.
Well, Cheryl is the type of writer where she can just sit down at a table and say, okay, I'm going to write a poem. I'm not that kind of writer. I have to feel what I'm writing. And you can't just tell me, oh, Laura's go in there and write a poem. I have to feel it. Because the poem is part of my experience. It's part of what I'm feeling, or how, because that's how it started writing in the first place, as journal entries. So it was what I was going through emotionally, and for me to try and understand myself. That's why I started writing. So when you can't tell me to just go in there and start writing, whereas my sister, she can just sit at the table and start writing, and she thinks that I'm supposed to be able to do that. Just sit at the table. She's like, well, if you just start writing, something will come out. Well, it will come out, but it will be trash. And when I say the click, it's like I have to be in that space, and I have to feel what I'm writing. If I'm not feeling it, I can't. It won't come out. I don't know if anybody understands what I'm saying.
So you are completely two different authors. The way you are inspired, the way you write, it's completely different. Was there any clash?
Yes. There was clashes because, like I said, she kept thinking that I wasn't writing. When she decided to write the book, her thing was she was just full steam ahead. And I didn't understand what the big rush was. She was like, we got to write. You have to write. You have to have so many poems done. And I'm thinking, okay, but I'm not feeling it. I'm not in that space right now. And then all of a sudden, like, it will come, and then sometimes I could write 2 poems a day, or whatever. But she was just on me. And then she kept saying that, oh, it's so hard to get you to do anything. She thought I wasn't participating. But I was participating. I just had to wait till I feel it. Because if I don't feel it, then the poems are not going to mean anything.
Yeah, but Laris, I have a question, because I have many poets and authors in my community. And many of them would be like, they need to feel it to start writing. Some would say you have to write every day to get there. And some would be like, you have to wait to be inspired to start. But some also could spend all their life waiting for the moment to start.
Well, what? I'm always thinking in my head about what I want to write, what I want to say. And I just have to, once I have an idea of what I want to say, it'll come, it will come. But I can't sit down and I cannot say, like, if you told me right now, Laris, I need you to come up with a poem right now, I couldn't do it, because I have to be in a space. My poems are from my experience, what I'm going through at the time. And you could tell the difference in Cheryl's writing and my writing, because my writing was about me trying to figure out myself and what was going on
Mm-hmm.
around me in my environment. And Cheryl's poems were about what she was going through at the time. But Cheryl started her poems when she was like in her 20s. So a lot of her poems are, what she was going through as far as relationships were concerned. My
Mm-hmm.
poems are more like where I was trying to understand myself. Do you
And when
understand?
did
You
you
get it?
start to write your books, your poetry?
When did we stop?
No, you, because you talk about Cheryl. Now I'm asking you, when did you start? Because you said she started on her 20s.
Oh, I started like when I was around, I think I started in around 1997. And I was maybe in my late 20s, because that's when my brother passed away. And I
Okay.
was very close to my brother. And it was like one day I was thinking about my brother and I just started writing. And when I went back to read what I was writing in my journal, I said, well, wow, this sounds like a poem. And so I kept doing it. I kept writing in the journal every day, but they kept having like a rhythm to them. And I was like, wow, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept doing it.
That's awesome. Cheryl, what do you think about what Laurie said about how she's writing? What's your opinion about it? And also, if somebody's watching and who's not into having the declic or the click before they could write something, what would be, each of you, what would be your recommendation for that poet who's kind of feeling like I need the click to start, or I could just sit down and write like Cheryl?
Well, these are artistic differences, and we are different in that way. Loris has always been a very kind of happy-go-lucky person. She's very talented, and most people that are talented like
Oh, we lost her
Loris.
again.
Loris, we lost you again. Most people who are very talented like Loris, they seem to not, it's not that they don't take it seriously. It's just that they are emotional writers and they need to be in that place of emotion in order to be able to produce something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am more technical in that I write something every day, I don't necessarily have to be inspired or from an emotion to write. So if I sit down and make up my mind to write, a good practice for any writer, especially anyone listening to us today, is to just always take some time to write. Whatever it is, record however you're feeling. If you're feeling sad, if you're having a bad day, whatever it is, if you journal it, you can always chronicle how you feel. And then later on, you can develop that something into something. That's what I've found to be a good practice as writing. If you write something every day and you just put it up, you can turn something into something amazing just because you started writing. But my sister is very emotional, and that's why I personally feel her writing is so good, because everything has to inspire her in order to write. So when you read her poems, they're coming from an emotional place, and that's why you're just so invested in them, because they make you feel things. It's not that mine don't make you feel something. It's just that you feel the loss of when we lost our brother, and you read her poems about him. You're right there in that space when we were so unhappy. Or, when she wrote beautiful poems, love poems for me and one of our friends when we got married. Those poems are beautifully written, and they're joyful, and they are happy, and they're celebrations of love and relationships. And those are powerful poems. The poems that she wrote for my nephew, her son, being a mother, those poems are just beautiful. They're so heartfelt. And all her emotion are in those pieces. So I understand now at this space of just working with her and understanding, and just because I admire her writing so much, I understand that she has to be inspired in order to produce something wonderful. But because I am not the emotional writer like that, I think like I said, I keep saying it, I think she's a better writer.
It's
Because
nothing wrong with if a writer doesn't write every day. There's nothing wrong with it. Just you can't keep putting it off. You have to start somewhere, even if it's with one word. Put it on paper.
Okay.
You know, I'm not saying for people to just keep waiting and waiting and waiting, wait. No, you have to start somewhere.
Sure.
You know, if it's
So,
if
mhm.
whatever you're going through that day, or whatever, you know, whatever inspires you to write, like, you know, the situation that's going on here, you know, in the United States right now with George Floyd. If you are feeling any
Mhm.
kind of emotion about that, you can create something really amazing from that experience.
Sure. And I
It's
have
just
a
being
question.
inspired by
Do you
your
think the fact
environment.
that you had two different techniques of uh,
I didn't hear the
mhm.
question.
Since you have two different techniques, do you think the fact that you collaborated was a plus into the book? And I love the title of your book, by the way. You never showed it. I don't know if you have a copy with you, if you could show it to the audience.
Oh, sure. I have a copy right here.
Yeah, because I love the title. I won't say it. I'm going to let you introduce the title and also tell us what's the story behind it.
Okay. The title is Different Sides of the Same Coin. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Me and my sister are very close. And so we spend a lot of time talking on the phone. And we were talking one day.
Okay.
And we are very close. And so we're so close that we finish each other's sentences, and we think the same, and we feel the same way. And we are extensions of each other. And we were just talking in a phone conversation. And it was so weird because in that conversation, we kept doing that. We kept, like, you know, she would say something and I would finish it, or I would say something and she would finish it. And we started laughing and we said, boy, we are different sides of the same coin. And we didn't have a name. We didn't have a name for the book. And then my sister goes, that's it. That's what we're going to name it. And that's where it came from.
That's a beautiful name. So my question was, you are two different writers and two different techniques. Do you think it was a plus in the collaboration you had in this book?
Absolutely.
Okay. And how? Like, if somebody right now would like to collaborate with another author, what would be your advice? Like, because you are sisters, so even if you had some kind of clash and happy moment, it was a sisterhood. So that's something that. But when it comes to two different authors with two different styles, what would be your advice to keep going?
Okay. Patience is a good one. But what you have to do is you kind of have to get together and you have to really say, okay, this is my vision. And then the person that you're collabing with has to say, okay, this is my vision. And then you guys have to make concessions together and figure out what's the best way forward to get the story out. So somebody is going to be compromising a lot, because I am and that's one thing that I love about my sister. She is very stubborn and strong like I am. But for this project, she really let me have complete reign on a lot of issues, that, you know, as it related to this book. And she did not give me any pushback at all on any issue. And I don't know why that was, because she's very strong and she has her own vision of how she wants stuff. But she really compromised with me and pretty much just let me format it and take the lead on it. So someone is going to have to acquiesce, and someone is going to have to be, the one that kind of takes the reins. And that's the whole thing. Where I'm strong, my sister can be weak. When I'm weak, my sister can be strong. So because we care about each other and love each other, we know, how far to go with something.
Right.
And so if you have any writer, if you're writing with a writer and you guys get along and there's respect and there is, admiration for the person's work, anything can be worked out.
Thank you so much. That's a great recommendation. So now, could we talk about when you started to write your poetry, your journal first, before you end up having this project? What was the beginning? If you could tell us the story and how you lost your brother, and if you could read also the poetry about that.
Okay. Well, we were all really close, but I guess I was the closest because I'm the youngest in the family. It's four of us. Now it's three, but it was four of us, and I was the youngest. And when we were very young, my brother and I shared a room. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but as a result, he and I became really close, and we were always close until he died. And so I was experiencing a lot of things. Plus, my sister actually, and I'm also very close to my sister. It was like these were my two best friends, my sister Cheryl and my brother. And when he died, it sort of, we were no longer the Three Musketeers. And then, like a year later, my sister was getting married. And so I was feeling like I was just going to be by myself. So that's why I started writing, because I was trying to understand what direction my life was taking, and just all kinds of things. I was trying to figure out, what was going to be next. So that's why I started journal, making a journal.
And Sharon?
Okay. I knew that they were very close. And I too, and was close to him. And so my sister said the Three Musketeers, and we really were the Three Musketeers. Our brother was our champion. There was about almost 9 years between our ages. So our big brother really was like our dad, because he taught us how to ride a bike. He spent so much time with us, and he was never burdened by having to hang out or babysit his younger sisters. He wanted to do it. He wanted to just introduce us to all kinds of things. And he took us, at that time, because we were little, trick or treating and things like that. He was very much, our champion. We would play with him for hours, and he was a teenager, but because he loved us so much, he didn't mind being King Arthur. And we were, the ladies in his knightly court. We played those types of games with each other. We were knights and queens and, all of that stuff. And I wrote a poem about that. It's called Remembering Camelot, and it will tell you a lot about just how much we love him. And so
go ahead.
If you'd like me to, I could read that poem for you now.
Yes, sure. I just want to welcome Lizelle. She just joined us now. Welcome, Lizelle.
Welcome.
So we're going to listen to this poetry. You never said the name of your brother. You never told us yet.
Oh, it's in the title. His name is Antoine.
Okay.
That's his name. This one is called Remembering Camelot, and it's on page 27. And it's called Antoine's poem number 1. Do you remember Camelot? Arise, big brother. Let us rebuild our majestic, magical city. Let us revisit the innocence of childhood folly. I brought all the things we'll need for our journey. Look, I am Lady Guinevere standing by your side. Behold, thou art king of all earthly kings, mighty King Arthur. Do you remember Camelot? Arise, big brother. Take my hand. I can see the moat surrounding this castle. Can you see the beginnings of our city? Let us play as we did when we were once children. Let us make folly. Big brother, arise. Let us revisit Camelot.
Okay.
Very nice.
And
That's really deep. Mm-hmm.
I wrote a poem for him, and it's on page 214, and it's called 323 Days.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, what is the world without the sunlight? Excuse me.
Can you read it, Laura? You want me to? Okay. I'm going to read the poem for her because she gets emotional. It's
Okay.
called 323 Days. What is the world without sunlight? Without the music? The music that filled my soul with complete abandonment. I was free to be me and not have to apologize. I could hear my own voice, trembling in laughter, trying to catch my breath. When my cup was... Yes.
Cheryl, please, could you join Lewis so it's going to be easier for her? Because we have Annette who joined us, so you could share the same screen and you're going to be able to support Lewis.
Okay, I can do that.
So we're having Annette joining us right now. And Lewis, you could keep your camera for both of you, for Cheryl and Lewis too. Okay. So she's not going to be too much emotional. So I'm going to introduce you to Annette. She's an author. And I think it's going to be great to listen to you two. And let's go back to the poetry you're reading.
Okay. I lost my place. But anyway,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to start over. I did lose my place. It's called 300. Okay. It's called 323 Days. Mm-hmm. And it's on page 214. And this is from my sister's portion of the book. What is the world without sunlight, without the music that filled my soul with complete abandonment? I was free to be me and not have to apologize. I could hear my own voice trembling in laughter, trying to catch my breath. When my cup was empty, your smile filled it with hope. You were my hope, my reasoning, my voice of okay. You laughed, and the whole world seemed conquerable. I stare into today, and there is no sunlight. The raindrops are bigger, falling faster. The air is harder to breathe. It is filled with thick clouds of loneliness, and I am choking. An hour is a day, and a day is an eternity. The laughter is gone. Yesterday is my place of serenity, my joy. I looked at the clock. It is 10 o'clock p.m. 323 days since you left. 323 days without the sun. Without my friend. Without my brother. 323 days. That's it.
Oh, it's really deep. Thank you for reading it. I'm going to let Liesel and Annette tell us what you think about it. It's about Antoine. They lost their brother, and that's what you kind of missed before you join us. So what do you think about the poetry before we move on?
Words cannot express. It's very touching and emotional. Very, it's really deep rooted inside. You could actually feel the sadness. You could actually feel the pain from the words and what is being expressed in the poem. You could feel there was an amount of hurts and sadness. You're missing the person. You're missing the presence of that person. You know. So every day that goes by, it's like a loss. It's like wondering why, asking questions, you know, and trying to figure out and understand why this, why that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
why do I feel all this pain, you know, and why do I have to feel it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very good, very deep. I love it.
Yeah, I
Thank
agree
you.
with that. Annette?
Yeah, it's I just came onto the show, and
Welcome.
it hit me with it's deep, and it made me, you know, the way these things do, you feel you feel empathy, and I don't know about Anton. Maybe you could say a little bit about him in a minute, but you've obviously talked about him, but I missed that piece, and I would love to know a little bit more. But it definitely made me feel something, and it made me think of my own family as well. You
Yeah,
know,
it takes you back
things that have happened within
on,
my,
yeah.
you know. So yeah, powerful poem, and thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
So
you so much.
Lauritz or Cheryl, do you want to tell us a little bit about Antoine?
Sure. Like I said, he was almost 10 years older than us. So he really was a older brother, but he was more like a dad to us because we were a lot younger than he was. And most older brothers, because they're teenagers, they don't want their little kid sisters tagging along, and they want to hang out with their friends. And he had a lot of friends. He was a very handsome young kid, very handsome man.
Popular,
He
very
was very
popular.
popular. He had lots of pretty girls and lots of guys were his friends. So as opposed to like, oh no, I have to have my kid sisters tagging along, he totally would tell them, I'm bringing my younger sisters, and you guys, that's just how it is. They're gonna come along, and he just always made every day a joy for us. I don't care how ridiculous, you know. This is a guy that would play with our dolls. He would, he would just really, he just loved his younger sisters so much.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there was nothing that we couldn't talk him into doing because he was just our champion. He just was our everything.
Even after we got older, though, and
Mhm.
we were out of college and we all had our own apartments.
Mhm.
We didn't live that far from one another.
Mhm.
So every day I would bribe him over to my house with some food because Antoine loved to eat. He loved to eat, even though he wasn't a big guy. But I could always I say, Antoine, if you come over, I'll get you some jerk chicken. And he would come, and you miss those things, those little things like that, because now I don't have anybody to bribe over, but he would always get me over to his house the same way, you know. I buy you some rib tips if you come over. I said, he know he didn't have to bribe me because he know I was gonna come. I was just waiting for the invitation. So yeah, we were really close.
And you told me, ladies, Lois and Cheryl, that when you lost your brother, a few months later, you lost your mom.
Well,
it was like 5 years later.
There was 5 years between. We lost them both.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was another blow.
And you have another poetry based on that loss too.
Yes, we do.
Okay. I'll read my poem first because I came to it first.
Okay.
This one is on page 212 of my portion of the book, and it's called The Spoken Word of Life. She is the spoken word of life, the very definition of the word. Her eyes are the reflections of the past. Her words are the rivers of wisdom and understanding. Her image is proof of God's power on earth. Though her movement is slow from the passing of time, the strength of many lives she holds in her breasts. I am made small in the shadow of her essence. Yet, because of her, I can reach unreachable heights. The moon cannot contain her love, nor the sun her warmth. Heavy is her touch, yet tenderness radiates from it. Her smile is the dawn of a new day. She is my beginning, my aspiration, my prayer. For she is my mother, and through her I am made new again.
Wow.
Amen. That's
That's
good.
beautiful.
Yeah.
This is the second poem for our mother. It's from my portion of the book. It's on page 25. It's called The Essence of Beauty. A rain shower of love, humility, and virtue.
Stop doing that.
Embrace your every step. Mustard seeds of faith, meekness, and patience were planted by your gentle hands. You are the essence of all that is beautiful, joyful, peaceful, and kind. In all goodness and temperance, you prepared me well for life's most amazing journey, living. You are my mother, and with the waking of each new day, I am made anew with the strength and power of your love.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful, really powerful and full of love.
Yeah.
Ladies, you want to say something? Lizelle, Annette?
Very nice. I love them both. It really captured the essence of who your mom really
Oh, thank you.
was. Yeah. It really captured that essence of.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
yeah, to me, it's almost like a prayer as well. It's almost like a prayer to me. It just touches me like a prayer because I also lost my mother,
Yeah.
and it's some years now. It's 5 years, but
Mm-hmm.
it's always it's your mother, and that
Right. Exactly.
is, yeah, I can feel it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Both beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, Lawis and Cheryl, I have to introduce to you. Lizelle had a book, a poetry book, so she's a poet. I don't know, Lizelle, if you have your book, you could show us. And Annette also had a poetry book. I don't know if she has it with her. Okay. So Still Overcoming is the one from Lizelle. And she's going to read also a few poetry, so you're going to have to acquaint a little bit and learn from her. And then you have the one from Annette. And Annette, we can't see the book. It was so fast. Yeah. Yeah, a poetry too. Spectrum.
Yes.
Oh, spectrum. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's little tiny. It's not really easy to read on the book.
I can see
Cover.
all the
So
top, but maybe everybody else could see it, but I can only see the top.
okay. So we're going to finish the first part, which is Lawis and Cheryl, the interview, and then we could have a conversation and also listen to poetry from Lizelle and then a poetry from Annette. And we could kind of have a more conversation for the last part. And Lawis and Cheryl, you told me you had a third loss in your family after losing your brother and your mom.
Yeah, our father
Recently passed away
in March the 7th of this year.
Sorry. Do you have a poetry you would like to share about that event? Or is it?
It's not
if it's
really
too heavy, we could talk about.
I'm sorry. We don't have a poem per se about losing him. We have poems about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's the point. If you
okay.
And also, if you want to tell us a little bit about him before reading the poetry.
Okay.
Sure. Our father.
If it's not too heavy yet.
Yeah, no, it's not. Our father was like most dads. He was a disciplinarian, and he was a very rigid, hard man. He was austere in demeanor, and he was complicated. And so, because my father was a man that was Black man raised by a single mom. He lost his father before he was even born.
Mm.
And my grandfather, which was his father, died in a swimming accident. He drowned. So my father was raised in what we call the segregated Jim Crow South.
Mm.
And that made him even more of a kind of just complicated person, because he wasn't very confident in who he was, because he really didn't have, like, we had our brother that instilled confidence in us and encouraged us and helped us to dream, and really was just a nurturer. He didn't have a male that was that for him.
Right.
And so he had to be all of those things and for himself. And that made him a lot selfish, and it made him a little hard to be able to tolerate, quite honestly, because he did everything for himself. And he behaved a lot like someone that probably should not have had a family, but he had one. And so that's not to make him the bad guy, or that's not to demonize him. It's just the way it is. So we weren't really close to him because he wouldn't let us be close to him.
Right.
So we've kind of had to have a third person observance kind of relationship with him. We write about him from a distance, from afar.
Right.
Because we weren't close to him, and he would not allow us to be close to him. He wasn't close to anyone. And so that's kind of how that goes.
Yeah, actually, what's kind of funny, we've learned more about him since he's passed away, than we knew about him, and we grew up with him our whole life. But just to hear like the neighbors and everything, talk about him, about how nice he was and the things that he liked to do, we like, well, wow, he wasn't that for us.
Right.
So it's kind of strange. So especially you'll hear it in my poem, because I was the youngest. I was the youngest, like I said, and it was for some reason he and I clashed because I was the youngest. It's like he didn't like the fact that I was the youngest kid. We just didn't get along for that.
That's not really it entirely. They are so much alike in temperament and disposition.
I don't think so.
And they have a lot of the same ways. What irritates them, doesn't irritate most people. So my dad was very impatient, and my sister is extremely impatient.
Oh God!
And that drives me nuts. So they do have a lot of characteristics that are the same.
Isn't it like the title of your book?
I'm sorry, what you say?
Isn't it like the title of your book?
Exactly. Different sides of the same thing. Exactly.
Yeah. The ladies never saw the book, by the way, if you could show it. It's Lizel and Annette never saw it. It was before they joined us.
Okay.
So the title of the book is
Different Sides of the Same Coin. Move your hand, sure. That's the book.
Very nice.
Thank you. So I guess Cheryl will start with her poem, because she was closer to my father than I was.
Okay. This one is on page 10. It's called Refined Jewels. Life Lessons from Dad. We spend so much of our lives running away from, fighting with, and against who and what we are. Afraid of just being. Frightened of what is true. Truth and acceptance are life's greatest gifts, usually only garnered through the furnace of our affliction. These refined jewels of life can only be fully appreciated with age. Within the finite passage of time, acceptance is learned. In all of life's combat, we find ourselves. Once all the hurtful words are exchanged and all our unhealed pain acknowledged, we stand firmly, rooted in our truth, choosing whether to be broken or not.
That poem sort of gives you an idea of the relationship we had with him. And this is the poem that I wrote for him because my sister told me I had to write a poem. She told me I had to write a poem for the book for him because I had a poem for everybody except him. So she was like, you have to write a poem for him. So I was like, oh God. So this is one of the times when I was telling her I'm not feeling it. I need to feel the click. Okay. So so when I felt the click, this is the poem that I came up with. It's called The Embodiment of Cool. When I was younger, I wanted to be around you, even though you pushed me away. I thought you were Superman, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. I thought you could solve every problem, fix any and everything. I thought you were brilliant, charismatic, and suave. For me, you were the embodiment of cool. But as I grew older, the rose colored glasses became spectacles of clarity, and frightful realities became painful memories. The best of you was never enough, and the worst of you was way too much. I wanted to blame you, and for a time I did. But I realized you are a collection of those who raised you, a result of times and experiences that have come to define you. And it is because of you that I am. And that's it.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh.
It's not deep in emotion like for your mom.
Thank
It's very nice. Both of them.
you. Thank you.
Very,
Very nice.
yeah, very nice, very beautiful. And I love the way that you both work together. And it's like you're saying the same thing, but in different ways. And the way it complements, you must, the way your work complements each other, the one another. I
Oh,
think that's
thank you. Thank you so much.
incredibly strong. Yeah.
That's now you say that because we had the first, one of the first question was about the different techniques because they are completely different. Lois needs a click to start writing, while Cheryl doesn't need it. And we had a conversation about that. And I asked earlier about what's the recommendation they would have, because many people would have a nice, beautiful project. They won't finish it because it's a clash. At some point, it's kind of like you are pushing me too much. And like Cheryl said, she's a taskmaster and she was pushing and pushing and pushing. But at the end, we have this beautiful work and it was great. But the thing is, when you are sisters, it's easier to be hard on each other and it's sisterhood. So it's kind of like whatever happened, we have to do it. But when it's two persons, like two different authors with different vision, it's really hard to work together. And that's why I said the title is exactly what they look like. And it's like exactly, the title is perfectly well done. And it's based on their journal and their stories. So the next one would be a pleasure for Annette. We're going to talk about George Floyd.
Okay.
Because Annette was at the manifestation and I saw the pictures and she was holding a sign. So Annette, I let you introduce that part and talk about your story and we're going to have this conversation.
Okay. Yes, I live in northwestern Ontario, so I live in Canada. As Ndeye lives in Canada also. And so does Lisa L. So we all do, actually. Anyway, yeah, we went. There was a local Black Lives Matter event here, and it was you could walk from where I live. You could walk to the park where it was going to be held, and we've all been isolating, and we've all been keeping our social distance, and it did run through my mind, but not for very long. Oh my goodness, we're going to do that. But I knew immediately that I wanted to be there, and especially as it's so close. So we put on our masks and we went to the march and the demonstration. And there was a small walk around the park, and it was well attended. And the young people were in the driving seat, and the older people, if you like, were supporting them. But it was very good, very positive, no trouble, very peaceful. And the signs were amazing. If I had mine, I would just quickly show it. But yeah, it was good. Yeah, I previous to that I had written a poem about George. Would you like me to read this? You'd like me to
Yes.
read?
Yes.
Yes.
Something told me I should bring the bowl today, and it's not something I usually use, but I'm going to use it, and particularly because of the poem about Antoine and those poems there. They're very, very powerful, and I just feel that this sound will be very useful to hear.
Mm.
I'm just going to go. Okay. The poem's called Minneapolis. That great city. I have visited its streets. I have visited its theatres. I have visited its great shopping malls. Forever chained, forever stained with the blood of a black man, a man named George Floyd. Killed when an unforgiving knee pressed hard into his neck. The minutes tick by, and there is no relief for George. No let up of the pressure on his neck until he loses consciousness, until he loses the ability to breathe, until he dies. This is Minneapolis on Monday, the 25th of May, 2020. Memorial Day in the USA.
Wow.
Wow.
There you are.
Wow.
It's really deep. It's beautiful and really deep and say it all.
I had forgot it was Memorial Day.
That's a very powerful, very powerful writing.
Yeah.
It was beautifully written too.
So next, I'm going to ask Lewis and Cheryl to take over about George Floyd. What's your thinking and what you want to share with our audience? If you have a poetry or something you would like to share.
Well, our book was published in what 2019 before it happened.
But we still have a lot of Black voice, if you will, about the Black experience of racism.
Yes, so you could share one of those.
Okay.
Still related to what happened.
Well, it is, but it's just, it makes me sad. It makes me sad as a Black woman in 2020, for us to still be fighting these same fights
I can see your face. Yeah, now I can see you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to still be fighting the same fights that my parents struggled and they survived and they provided education and gave us a good life, and we're still living in some aspects. My dad, he was very embattled with going to work, providing for his family, to be told that Black people can't do this, Black people can't do that, to be denied promotions and a better way of living because he was a Black man. So to have George Floyd.
I can't see, I can't see your face. Okay.
Okay.
So to have George Floyd publicly executed on a holiday of mourning for service men and women in this country who gave so much for the freedom of everyone, that just was an extra hurt that just there are no words. I can't even put in words what I'm saying right now because I am so full, and because we're dealing with all of this loss in our lives right now. Just to pile this on, this
And
feels like an extension of the loss that we've just had to endure.
and to keep in mind that here in the United States, it wasn't just George that week.
Right.
Like 2 days before that, it was Breonna Taylor, where she was asleep in her own apartment at home, sleeping, when the police decided to raid bullets through her door and kill her while she was sleeping, looking for someone who was already in custody. So we were coming off of the heels of that. And then what? A week before that, it was Ahmaud Arbery, another black man. So these three things hit us in the face back to back. And the two that we did not witness, but we actually witnessed George Floyd. So
Yes.
that was a bit much. And being here and as a single mom raising my own son who happens to be in the Air Force, I took that pretty hard. But we do have some poems about you cannot be a participant in the world and not have some kind of point of view on what's going on. Because keep in mind, this has been going on for us here in America for quite a long time. So we do have a poem. I have a poem that's entitled Civil Rights Lost, and it's on page 247 in the book. And it goes, so much going on in the world today, so much to see, so much to say. Right up the street and outside my front door, love don't live in the hood anymore. A boom, a bang, a very loud pow leaves many mothers asking why and how. Why is this happening? How can we stop it? While the politicians just try and drop it. Who you gonna vote for this coming fall? While many of us ask the question, should we even vote at all? The faces keep changing, the names rearranging. Everybody's promising, everybody's lying. While our young black brothers keep on dying. We've marched, we've sang, we thought we overcame. We sat down, we stood up. We're tired of drinking from this full cup. We've pounded our fists and demanded justice. But the only people going through this is just us. Like Marvin said, it makes you want to holler. Raise your fist and scream, Black power. We've done all that before, and we're still pounding on the door. From the dreaming of dreams to the urgency of now, our civil rights remain lost somehow.
Wow, that's really deep and say it all. Even if it was 2019, still relevant today to what happened, especially the 7 days you had before George Floyd.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. You had just being a participant or living in life.
I think you guys can now see why my sister is my favorite writer. That was just some of what she has to say. And I'm so proud of her. I'm gonna read, and I really hate reading some of my stuff, but you kind of don't know what to read here. So
we are looking for the poetry. Lisa, what do you think about what we just heard?
I find it's very true to what they wrote. The book came out in 2019, and still you have to be repeating yourself over again with the same mark, the same hollering, the same protesting, the same, you're doing it again and again and again. So, the poem is basically what is happening right now, Although I'm from Trinidad, really, but I came to the States 6 years ago. So I'm seeing everything. I'm experiencing everything that American is feeling, every Black American is feeling. I'm feeling it too.
Yes, yes,
Whether
Yes.
Caribbean, you know, wherever you feel it as a Black person, and I feel
yes,
Yes.
it.
you do.
But even what is going on now, I feel it. Even what
Yes,
was written there, you know, what is written there, you feel it because it's the same thing, you know. So, but this time it's a bigger thing because this has
yes,
impacted the world. This has
yes, yes.
impacted the world. My paws are raising as I say it, you know. So let we let me see if you know change will come. Let me see if something is going to come out of this. Let's see.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Joelle, are you
Okay.
ready?
Yes, I am. This is
Okay.
called this is called 272 Years of Unsung Independence. And this is on page 154. There's something else going on. Us Black folks have known it for way too long. You see, our unsung pursuit of happiness is under mortal threat. Living while Black will get the police called on you quicker than any named committed crime ever could. Let me make the case. We can't grab coffee at Starbucks no more while Black. Nope, taking walks in your neighborhood while Black will result in police sirens and shakedowns. That's just plain old simple fact. Barbecuing in the park with your family while Black, we absolutely don't dare do that. Let me play it back for you, just to be certain you're really feeling me.
Sorry about that.
Driving, walking, sleeping, shopping, and sitting while Black will result in unwarranted contact with trigger happy police. Yet, I'm expected not to react. They expect me not to react. When white police interact with Black folks, that very well might be your last interaction in life. You dig? Y'all really feeling me? White folks know this too. Still, regardless of where we live, Black reality. Was this the intent of the founding fathers 272 years ago? Let's talk about inalienable rights of happiness, life, and liberty again. Who declared rights and independence for Black folks? Because where I'm standing, in the Black skin I'm in, white folks have placed my happiness under mortal threat. Living while Black has become white folks' a necessary casualty, and that's as real can get.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think those words said it all. It
Yeah.
was beautifully said.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very expression. Very
Oh,
expression.
I need a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Just now a call is coming in and I had to stop it.
Okay, so that's okay. So what, Lisel, could you tell us a little bit about your story, how you came to America and from Trinidad, just a small tidbit, so Lawis and Cheryl would know a little bit about your story. And if you have a poetry that match it, you could share it also with us, giving us the deep feeling about what happened.
Okay. Well, my name is Lisel Powder. I'm from Trinidad. I came to the States in 2014. Came with my husband, my two children. Um, because of verbal and mental abuse, I had to leave. I took my children and left and been homeless, um, moving around, bouncing around, place to place to just find somewhere to sleep. Me and my daughters. Every time I got paid, I would pay for hotel. pay for a motel, me and my 2 children, till we get this apartment in 2017. So I've been here ever since, and due to all of that, my youngest, she got pregnant. So I had to be a single mother with a 19-year-old that is pregnant, had to deal with so much. Now getting the place, and with all of that, I decided to, before I go any further, I submitted three poems for an anthology, and it I am in an anthology book. So it's over
Congratulations.
100 poets, and I came in.
Oh,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
you
Well
know,
done. Well
I
done.
announced it on Facebook. I was like, wow, I didn't even think they would have put it up on Facebook, so they put it up on Facebook, and I'm really glad. And I said, this is, like I told one of my friends, I said, during the hurts and the pains that I was feeling, writing was the release to save me,
Yeah.
to release and to make me feel
Mhm.
better. And it has, expressing
Good.
myself. And that's why I came up with a book called Still Overcoming. It's like you're still overcoming. You're not fully there yet. You're still overcoming.
Mm-hmm.
You're still
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
pushing forward to overcome. And
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can share a little poetry from it. Um,
Yes, please.
okay, I did one before called the one that I did with.
Do you want the sound effect from Annette?
Yes, why not? I love that.
Sound effect, please.
We'll just
That
introduce
man. I
because
love the the,
we'll just
the, the
introduce. I
song
think.
or something that she.
What do you want? What would you like? Would you like the drum or would you like the bowl? What would you like? The drum?
Them. They are beautiful. I love it. I
Okay.
love them. I
Well,
said I something like that.
I'm going just to introduce to you.
Yeah, love that. All right. So I'm going to read I read Silent Words, but I'll read it again. It's basically about depression.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how it goes. Silent Words. She takes her time to reason within. Her sorrows never end. The linger stare, her eyes cast down, like pity for words to send. A slow walk pace to try is hard. The journey seems so long. Step by step, her feet move on, like notes of a song. The,
Mhm.
the tears that hides inside her soul, a cry for help not heard. The doors are closed and silent still, not a pin drop, not even a word. Depression strikes, the word is out. Get help, any help, please. She still will not respond at all to save her soul at ease. The crippling
Wow.
side effects of a dangerous sorrows sinking inside within. I reached out today, it could be me, my friend. I feel your pain. That's it.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. It reminded me of my own writing. It was great.
Thank you.
Um, You're welcome.
Yeah, it reminds me of a lot of my sister's writing as well. She has a poem that all of her poems, a lot of her poems are like that because my sister was writing in a place of sadness and depression. And when you lose someone that you love, like my brother and our mother, you're sad. And so when you read that particular piece, it reminded me of my sister's writings because she has one that is called Moments. And I love that poem because sometimes life won't let you dance. It just won't allow you to dance.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do have our happier moments where we can, but that piece that you just read, it was very powerful.
It was very powerful.
Yeah. you can feel the yearning for
Yeah.
peace, the yearning for peace.
It's so much when you go into depression, you know you need help, but you don't know how to help yourself. You don't know how to
Yes.
move, how to push
Right.
forward. Just sinking in
Yes,
yourself
that's right.
all the time.
That's right.
And many
That's right.
times I've been like that, especially with what I was experiencing, moving from here to there with my daughters, up and down.
Yeah.
Anything could have happened to us, but I kept praying. I kept looking up to the sky and say, God, you got to help me. You got to make a way. You got to,
Yeah.
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 It
it's
all came through.
crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all of that came through that poem.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's huge because I left England to come to Canada, and the upheaval. You've got everything looks the same, the language is the same, the shops are a little bit different, but we all understand we're in a new country, but there is that it's a culture shock. You're going through a hell of a lot. So you left your homeland and then you came to a new country, and it's a lot to process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
The poem,
And it takes a lot of strength to do that.
yeah.
A lot of strength.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I liked it.
So ladies, could we have, now that we talk about Floyd, we talk about losses, could we talk about a poetry?
We lost some of what you said.
No, I said we mentioned about, you talk about the losses, we talk about depression, we talk about many not really happy things. Do you have a poetry, Laris or Cheryl, that's more like full of joy?
Oh, a lot of
Yeah.
them.
Okay.
She has beautiful pieces about her son. To me, those are they remind me of my mom, because watching her be a mother and seeing that soften her and take some of the edge off of her was beautiful. Just to witness that is her sister. But in my humble opinion, the poems that she wrote about my nephew, those are the most joyful and the most beautiful. As just being a mom and being a mother, you relate to that from those pieces.
So who's gonna read it, Laris or Cheryl?
Let me find it. Let me find one. I kind of wanted
And
to.
Lissel, do you have something? Because Lissel is the kind, she doesn't need the declic. She's always good to go for something like from last minute. I hope you get something ready by the end, because you're going to give us, from this feeling, a poetry poem.
Okay. So you want
Laris,
me
whenever you're ready.
to name of
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
If you,
So
I
we're
thought
going okay.
Right.
Yes.
you want
Go
me to
ahead.
go.
Yes. Go
Okay.
ahead.
This is a poem I wrote for my son last year. Um, it's called "Always Look Toward Zion." It's on page 241, and it says, "Jonah, you are 17 years old now, and I have had the privilege of spending all that time with you, talking with you, teaching and guiding you, and yes, learning from you. I used to wonder what my life's purpose was, but you came and all became clear. That's what you have given me, clarity in a world of uncertainty and confusion. I looked at you becoming a man, and I look back on the winter day and that first cry of hello. I am filled with all that you have given me: pride, joy, love, and hope. As you are preparing to take your place in the world, and no matter where you go or how far you go, I hope you always know I am your anchor. No matter how the wind blows, I am here to hold you down, to steady you in place when the waves of life pull you here and there.
Keep your eyes on the horizon, son, and always look towards Zion.
That's beautiful.
Very encouraging. Very uplifting.
Yeah.
Very
You're
good.
right, Cheryl. It's really beautiful. Go ahead, Lisa.
Well, this poem that I wrote about my culture back home. That's
Oh.
interesting. So this is more like what the country is about. So
Sound
um,
effect or not?
she could, she could shake the. I love that. Love that.
All right.
Um, Good. Thank you so much. All right, this poem is entitled "My Culture." Rhythm, rhythm is what we about. Whining and dancing, food in we mouth. Red, white, and black colors all blend. It's nothing new, this is just a trend. It's space, a race, nothing to misplace. Everything local, nothing a disgrace. Clothes, style, fashion galore. Excitement, music, so much in store. Steel band, carnival, chutney brass. Costumes, glitters, boy, this is my party all over, having a good time. Me and the crew, we going online. Bottle and spoon in pan and ting. Pan stick beating. Listen, here it rings. Come all to my sweet land. Take a trip, sail a ship. Here, take my hand. That's it.
Oh, I loved it.
Wow.
Oh, I thought that was perfect.
No, I want
Perfect.
to go there.
It made me want to go
Yeah.
there. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
I loved it.
That is like carnival time when there is carnival, the
Yeah.
atmosphere is like that. The music, the food, everything is it's really local. So
Oh,
you
I
get
felt it.
it's
I liked it because it
Yeah.
was happy.
every race
I felt it. I
together.
felt that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
liked it. It was so happy. It was a happy poem. I
yes.
loved
Yeah.
it.
And you
And
Now
and
we need
fun,
Annette.
fun.
you said steel pan and party everywhere.
Yes, and that is one of our local instruments, steel band. And they play the steel pan too. It's a silver instrument like a pan, and you have two sticks and
Right.
play on it, so it makes nice music. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it. It was everything.
Annette, Annette.
Oh wow. I'm just going to. I'm just going to do. I'm just going to do this one. I have. This was a day that my family came over and we went, and it was great because they came all the way from England to Canada, and it was wonderful to see them. And we spent a day at the lake because the lake is a very big part of the Canadian landscape,
Mm.
and it's a very because we have Lake Superior, the biggest lake, and the five Great Lakes. And where we were, we were near a lake. Anyway, this is what happened on the day. It's not very long, but this is what happened on the day. Lake Day. Today is a day for joy. Water splashing, the air is humming, and the camera clicking, trying to capture the heart of the day. A granddaughter floating in her pink blow-up boat.
Mhm.
This is the first time. A grandson with a fist full of sand, testing the water. A beautiful teenage granddaughter, swimming in bright red lipstick. Hindu gold Shiva medallion around her neck.
That's a beautiful one.
Very,
Yeah, you could tell that was a good
you
day.
had,
Hmm.
you had
You
me
and
big just now. I just had a picture myself by a lake.
Oh,
me too. Me too.
It's a beautiful one. Thank you, Annette.
Nice
So
memory.
now, since we have our special guest, it's the first time sharing and Lawrence. The final question I always ask about the holiday season. So we had so many things going on. We had George Floyd, we had COVID-19, we had the self-isolation. So how do you see it end of the year? And I already
The
asked
end of,
Annette and Lizelle, but you could join the conversation.
how do we see the end of the year? Probably not too much different than the beginning of the year. When we do holiday season, it's done in our church, and everyone is together, and it's a big celebration. But this year we had to do it in our home, and try and make it a celebration, to the Lord. So that was what was different. That was the biggest difference, that all of us in the church couldn't be together.
For me, I think you have to have
We
something to
can't
look
see you.
forward.
Yeah,
For
now I
me,
see
you
you.
have to, yeah. For me, you have to have something to look forward to. So we're in like the worst part right now. So I just look forward to being out of this part and just being able to be with my family and being able to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. So do you think there is any hope, Lois?
Oh yes, there's always hope. There's always hope.
Yes.
But I think, with people not following the rules, and then you have people in high positions here in the U.S. Who it's more important for the dollar than for people's health. So they're opening up the country, sooner than they should. So it's up to the people who know who know Jesus really, or who know God, to sit there and pray about the situation, because you have to be more concerned about the people than you concerned about your pocketbooks. And unfortunately, the person that's leading us is more concerned about his pocketbook than concerned about the citizens. So right now, as we speak, we're having more of a trend of the coronavirus here in the United States because they're opening up the stuff too soon. But there's always hope. As long as you know God, there's always hope.
I totally agree with my sister, but as long as you have love and as long as you have God, there is hope. And so that gives me hope, that because I know that it can't just be like this forever.
Like you said earlier, it's more like the worst part right now and the better is coming.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Annette and Lisa.
You can go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, I just agree. I think they said it correctly, and we're all just hoping. We're all hoping that we can go. I say go back to the old days, because there was a lot with the old days, but we can move forward, and particularly with what's happening around the world with George as well, George Floyd.
Yeah.
That there. I think we have a lot to look forward to. I think we are all hoping, in the Black community as well, but in other communities, we're all hoping that we will get over this, and that
Yeah.
Maybe the world will open up a little bit brighter for us as well. But we're all very hopeful because many of us haven't seen certain family members for a long time.
Yes.
My family were again, we were going to maybe see my son, or we're going to see different people, and that couldn't happen because of the airplanes weren't flying. They've been grounded. Borders are closed. This kind of thing. So we're all hoping for better times. Where we can get back together, we can have those celebrations, we can be with people again, and not fear, not be looking over your shoulder, wondering, what's happening, am I going to catch something or whatever.
Right. Right.
And so many of our community as well work on the front lines of this. We work in the hospitals, they work on the buses, we work all over, but we are on essential workers. So many of our community. So we need a break, you know. We just got to keep that this is going to be over with.
Yes.
I would say I agree with every one of you, you know. Just the fact of family, because my family, I'm the only one here. I have family in Trinidad. I have family here, but it's like more like, you know, distant, you know, but my true family, like my brothers and stuff,
Yes.
they're back home.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you know, separated. And I long to see my brothers. I long to see them. Hope that I can visit home. I miss home.
Yes. Yes.
Being a single parent and you have your children, it's a lot because
Yes.
we have to be on top of everything, whether with the bills, with the everything else. So you know, it's sometimes you need that breakthrough, that break to connect with people. So I'm hoping I can connect with although I hear from them, we speak on the phone, it's not the same when you're close to them.
Right.
You know,
Right.
my mom at the age I was 15, so a mother's love I missed out on.
Yes.
I have to be a mother to my daughters, you know, and I wish my mother was around too. But
Right.
I'm being
Right.
hopeful. I'm being
You have
hopeful.
to be strong for you girls.
Yes.
Hopeful. Just being hopeful and positive and praying and believing God will work it out. God will open doors and ways for us to, you know, be safe and keep
Yeah.
here.
So, Lawis and Sherry, where to find your book?
Oh, it's on Amazon. It's available now on Amazon.
Okay. So you're gonna add the link below after the show, and where to
Absolutely.
find you. Like, let's say somebody is really in touch with your reading and would like to be in touch with you. Where to find you, ladies?
I will add a bunch of links. I'll add all of our social media handles, and I will add the book link as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said Lawis is shy. So who's the one between you two to contact? The easiest one.
Me. That would be me.
So don't contact Lawis, contact Sherry. And if you are stubborn, you want to talk to Lawis, what's going to happen?
Oh, you can get to me. I'm not that difficult to reach. If you want to reach me, I'll put my social media contact on there as well.
Okay, thank you. And if
Thank you.
somebody's shy and not willing to start the first word, what would be your advice? And we're going to round table, make a tour. Lois first, what would be your advice? Being shy and not being able to share your feelings, even on a journal, what would be the most motivating word you would give to this audience if somebody is willing to write something?
If you're shy about, I was shy about other people reading it, not writing it. But the best thing to do is to just write it, even if it's one word. If you got another thing, is to write it in the third person. You know, write it in the third person, or write it, even if it's about yourself, you can give it another name. You know how like Beyonce says she's shy, and when she's on stage, she becomes what is it, Sasha Fierce? That's her stage name, her other persona. Seriously, sometimes you have to take on a different persona. You have to, come outside of yourself and write it in the third person, and that'll make you feel better about it. So that would be my advice. That would be my advice.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Cheryl, because you have different techniques, so what would be your advice to somebody who had the same kind of technique you have?
I'm just pretty much just go for it. Just put it out there. Put yourself out there, put your work out there, just dive in. And because you can't accomplish anything in fear, and you can't accomplish anything kind of afraid to just get your work out there. So
Yeah,
sit down and start writing and just get it out there. Just however you have to find your voice to do it, do it. That's
exactly.
my advice.
Okay. So your final word is just do it.
Just
Yeah,
do it like the Nike commercial.
yeah.
Okay. So next we're gonna have Annette. Annette, suppose Cheryl or Lawis would like to be in touch with you, where to find you?
Yeah, I will definitely put my emails on there. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook, and I will put it down there. And I will be looking at their links to definitely connect, because I'd like to get a hold of the book actually. I will definitely be I will definitely be connecting. Yeah. So yeah, we'll be.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Don't worry.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. And also, regarding shyness, it was something that everybody touched on. Lucille touched on it, and two sisters, Cheryl and Lois, is how cathartic and healing writing is. And I think for a lot of us, there's
Yes.
a lot of loss and travel and all sorts of things within all of us, what we've done. And I think certainly I can't speak for, but you've touched on it. It helped to heal. It helps to heal your heart, and it's cathartic.
Yes.
So that's why I do it. Really, that's one of the main things for me. I just feel better after I've done it. You know,
I agree. I agree.
So your advice to a new poet would be, Annette, to just do it,
just do it.
to heal your.
You know, and particularly if you've gone through events, it can be very, very healing. I'm not saying everybody will have gone through, but it can be very healing and cathartic. So yeah, that's what it would do. Just do it.
Michelle?
I would say that, well, basically being a new poet, like every one of you, you said just do it, just write, because I wasn't into the poetry thing. I started it back home, and I just realized that I had a thing for words and putting it together, and I just started with that, started with it and starting, writing it. And eventually I entered little competitions. And when I saw that I won a little small thing like Mother's Day and Father's Day, I would make up something quick and enter. And that was it. And that pushed me along to, write. So I would say just do it. Just get the pen and paper, use your mind, use your thoughts, and just put it down. As for my book, and I'll put everything at the bottom too of the comment, social media, where to get my book. It's on Amazon also, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'll put it in the comments where you can contact me. That'll be nice for us to
Perfect.
connect together. We all poets. We could do something, do a little Zoom and put it out there. Come on.
So listen, we want music to finish this, to wrap it up. Annette, sound effect, please. And listen, you are the one who's able to do this challenge. Just make something up for today. Go ahead, Trinidad. Tell us when you're ready.
And now I'm going to.
Okay, listen, waiting for you.
I clap. I'm using my hands.
So we want a poetry, something that sum up everything we did today. A short one.
one can that, let me see. Voices blend. So good to communicate again. Voices blend. We come together as one and as friends. Voices blend. Let's do this together again. Voices blend. Get the word out. We are friends. Yay.
Oh, woo! That was great. Excellent.
Great.
Right.
Thank
I
you,
love
ladies.
it.
It was great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you.
you. Thank you,
It was nice
everybody.
meeting you
Thank
both.
you.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes,
Thank you for
Thank
this
you so much.
opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
I, I
So
yes.
I'm going to
enjoyed
say
your
thank
work.
you to everyone and give you the chance to give the final word, each of you, before we wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. We didn't have so much question, but we had a lot of likes and a heart and laugh emoji. Thank you for everyone for watching. And if you are in the team replay and you have any kind of question, just feel free to comment. We all going to come back and often check what's going on the team replay. We're going to share the link. And if you like what you watch, just share it and help us spread the word and share this work. It was awesome meeting you all, ladies. And thank you for trusting me and joining me on my show. So I'm going to let Lawis go first, and then Shawel, and then Annette, and then Lisa to wrap it up. So, Lawis, your final word.
Well, just know that spoken word is important. It's part of our history. It's what brings us together, and it is cultural, and it reaches boundaries. It goes beyond boundaries. It's love, and it's inspirational.
My final words would be, I so agreed with the earlier comments about it being healing and
Yes.
providing healing. We were able to get through some of our darkest moments because of it, because of the writing. Other people have read the words and they have said that it provided healing for them. And there's so much power in the words. And once you release the words into the universe, you release healing into the universe. And so that's what I hope for everybody. I want
Yes.
you ladies to keep writing and to keep giving joy and bringing joy and being healed and to heal others. That's what I want.
Okay, I think I'm next.
Yes.
It's always, first of all, thank you, Ndeye. It's you invited me on your show, and this is, I think, the third time, maybe third, fourth time.
Yes.
It's always unexpected, and it's always fun, and it makes my day. I look forward to it. So thank you. And it's also very because I live in my community. The Black community here is very small, so it's nice to feel some energy, and I felt that here within this group. So I thank you for that. To feel some the energy from the other poets here, that special creative energy, and also Ndeye herself is a writer. So we're all, it's like a circle, which is great. And yeah, my book is, I will say, because I didn't say earlier, my book is available on Amazon, and all the links will be below. But just thank you for having me on the show. It's always fun. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Final words, final thoughts. Well, you're a great bunch of people. It's beautiful. I love it. We had to connect again. Really nice. I love it. I was kind of like in the beginning, coming on the Dia show, I was a bit nervous and stuff, but now I have such calm and I know how to, I'm not so nervous. And, um, final thoughts. We just have to keep striving. We just have to keep encouraging one another as women, as Black women, because it's not a matter of fighting down each other, not a matter of who is better than who. We have to uplift each other because we go through so much pain, we go through so much sadness, so much sorrow, so much hurts, whether if it's relationship, whether if it's marriages, whether if it's our personal family life. And we just have to stick together and encourage each other with words of hope, words of prayers, words of upliftment to keep us going, because we need that in this time. We need that
Yes.
in this time, you know. So
Yeah.
I just say we just being hopeful and just keep on writing, just keep on putting your dreams, your plans, everything in paper, and you know, let the world know who we are. You know,
That's right.
stand out. Let's have a voice. Let's, you know, shout it out. You know. So that's my final
Yeah.
piece.
Thanks, Ndeye.
Thanks, Ndeye.
Thank you, Lisel. Thank you. And we need a sound effect for bye-bye.